Just like when you level up in a video game, Brock Purdy is all of this combined arguably led to his best performance of his entire career. To me, this really makes San Francisco Super Bowl contenders this year, even with injuries to players like Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. With Brock Purdy playing at this level, he's able to mitigate the weaknesses of his team and truly elevate his team like an elite quarterback would, and he is. To really illustrate this point, we're going to go over his most recent performance against the Titans to examine what he did well and why I believe it's replicable headed into the playoffs. And initially to start, we're going to look at probably Brock Purdy's most underappreciated ability, and that's his mobility. What this allows Brock Purdy to do is routinely take advantage of the defense, even if they have phenomenal coverage. To really illustrate this point, for instance, we're going to be looking at Brock Purdy's longest run of his entire career, where the Titans defense does a phenomenal job in zone coverage of blanketing San Francisco's options. So rather than just taking off though, Brock Purdy steps up in the pocket while also keeping his eyes down the field in case one of his wide receivers come open, and with no one coming open, he also knows he's able to use this to his advantage, pump faking this defensive player right here, which gets him to elevate and helps Brock Purdy capture the outside edge of the Titans defense. And even though he's not the most athletic player across the National Football League, he has pretty underappreciated athleticism and can definitely hurt you. This isn't to say he doesn't have terrible ball security on this play and doesn't necessarily not look like a lizard like George Kittle said, but this does show Brock Purdy is a quarterback that can win late into the year because he's making big time plays for his offense. I also love how immediately he regrets doing this and has to apologize. It's pretty funny. Another thing about Purdy's mobility is it's extremely hard for the defense to actually defend the game, but Purdy's not really a running quarterback, but he can hurt you if there is an opening in your defense, like here on 3rd and 5, rolling out of the pocket. He sees the clear lane forming, and because the defense doesn't clearly account for Purdy on this play, he's able to hit it with no hesitation in his game and pick up the first down. Imagine how crucial this could be headed into the playoffs. A big 3rd down moment, Purdy's able to break outside of the pocket, pick up the first down, and who knows, that could have potentially won the game. He is getting pressured by this defensive tackle, but Purdy doesn't freak out, rather he steps up in the pocket, avoids the pressure, and then picks up 3 here. Outside of scrambling, Purdy is also pretty solid on QB designed runs, whether that be a QB sneak or a potential read option. He's been great throughout the year on these, and I think has continued to get better. And while we could continue to look at Purdy's ways he stresses the defense with his legs, we need to move on to arguably his more impressive aspect of this Titans game, and that was his passing performance, where he had 14.5% completion percentage over expected and nearly 300 yards. And to be fair, each one of these aspects of Purdy's game aren't mutually exclusive. Like here on this deep shot to Demarcus Robinson, to start this play, you can see how this entire defense has blanketed San Francisco's wide receivers. But because Purdy is able to escape this pressure and Demarcus Robinson continues to work, he finds him deep. It's also really impressive just how strong Purdy's arm is on this play. I don't necessarily think he could have made this play as a rookie, but right here, rolling, not being able to plant his feet, he's able to hit Demarcus Robinson deep down the field. To further highlight how Purdy uses his mobility and football intelligence to beat the defense, here on his second touchdown pass to Juwan Jennings, he's able to quickly identify the defense moving into cover 2 pre-snap. Post-snap, he confirms this read, so he knows he's going to be going to Juwan Jennings running this post pattern as he has Christian McCaffrey challenging this defender to the flat. But since the pressure starts to get to him and Jennings isn't even close to his break yet, Purdy rolls out of the pocket to not only buy more time but also help draw these defenders closer to him. And right here, look at his ball placement. He's placing it only where Jennings can get it, and I don't know what's up with Purdy and throwing the ball like this, but it seems to always lead to a touchdown. These type of plays are also the embodiment of the type of player Purdy is. It might be unorthodox, but he'll get it done, and often with phenomenal results. That's not to say he has to hit the fader on your defense every single time, but more so to say Purdy understands he needs to match his play style to how the defense is playing him. Here on this play pre-snap, for instance, Purdy is reading cover 3 from the Titans defense, and then post-snap, he's able to confirm it with this cornerback dropping off hard into his deep third zone. So he knows most likely the player he should be targeting and will be targeting is Ricky Pearsall, running this out pattern on this defensive back responsible for the hook curl into flats. And here he's throwing it as soon as Pearsall is coming out of his break, placing it only where he can get it, and this is a great throw and connection on this play. This also probably should have gone for more, as right here I think it's a pretty clear hip drop tackle, and that's why Ricky Pearsall kinda got injured here. Another underappreciated aspect of Purdy's game in my opinion is just how solid of a play action quarterback he is. This not only requires him pre-snap to identify what the defense will potentially drop back into, but also how San Francisco wants to attack this coverage, and then post-snap, he also needs to make sure all of these reads are correct once he's able to get his eyes back on the defense. In other words, this takes an extremely smart quarterback. Here on this play, for example, the Tennessee Titans are running cover 3, meanwhile San Francisco's offense has Jauan Jennings running a deep post, and then on the opposite side, you have Ricky Pearsall coming back across the middle on a deep end. So on this play, the way you want to attack it is based on how the defense covers it. If the safety jumps hard on Ricky Pearsall coming across the middle, you definitely want to hit Jauan Jennings on this one-on-one opportunity. But because this safety drifts up the field, in part due to Brock Purdy looking him off, he knows that he's going to have Ricky Pearsall coming over the middle. So he finds him in the soft spot of the Titans defense and once again shows off phenomenal ball placement. He's placing this right in Ricky Pearsall's hands so he's able to keep running throughout this rep and picks up the maximum amount of yardage here. Another reason Purdy is so effective on these play action passes is his ability to throw around pressure. Like here on this play, you can actually see how Purdy is altering his arm angle to avoid this defensive player and get the completion to use check. Another way we've continued to see Purdy improve this year is his ability to call audibles pre-snap. Here on this play, for instance, he's identifying the zone coverage from the Titans defense with this little motion pre-snap. That's because no one's following Kendrick Bourne hard on this play. If it was man coverage, you would expect one of these defenders to be trailing Bourne hard. So rather than calling the play that was designed right here, potentially a play call not very well suited for zone coverage, Purdy audibles into curls flat concept that should really challenge the flats and curl spot of this defense, and based on how the defense plays it, he'll attack it accordingly. And because this backer on this play decides to jump Christian McCaffrey breaking out to the flats, he has Demarcus Robinson coming free right in front of the safety on 3rd and 5, and Purdy picks up another first down, which was pretty routine throughout this game. And it really didn't matter what the Titans tried to do, whether it be zone coverage or man coverage. Here on this play, for instance, once again using this pre-snap motion, Purdy is able to identify the man coverage this time with Pearsall running an out pattern. So Purdy knows he's going to be going that direction. And that's not only impressive on this play, but the timing is absurd. He's throwing this before Pearsall is even fully out of his break and placing it perfectly. All of this isn't to say Purdy is always a perfect quarterback, as sometimes his gunslinger mentality can lead to questionable decisions, and he also doesn't have the best ball security at all times, but he is a young quarterback that's only continued to improve, so I think he has the potential to be a Super Bowl quarterback. This is especially the case because over the last few games, he really hasn't turned the ball over because he's willing to throw it away or even take the sack. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts about Brock Purdy's most recent outing against the Titans, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below about him as a player as well as this most recent game, and if you believe he could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback like I do. It would also mean a ton to me if you did enjoy this video. If you could go ahead and like and subscribe, it truly helps out the channel a ton. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.